Good morning, everybody. Happy Father's Day. I'll say it one more time. Happy Father's Day to you fathers out there that are on this page, that have supported us, that are showing up. You feel like nobody's listening to you. That's not what's going to happen here today. I want to welcome you to Dad Talk today. And you know what we're going to do today? We're going to talk about dads. We're going to let some dads talk. Today, I have been working on this all week. Every few minutes, we are going to be joined by a different father who has a story and wants to leave a message to their kid. There are some positive ones in there, and there are some heartbreaking stories in there. But one thing I want to ask of you before we get started today, please like, share, subscribe, and make sure to comment down below. Encourage, empower these guys. Thank them for speaking up. A lot of these guys was nervous to get on there and talk about these intimate details of their life, but they are doing it because they want the world to hear what's going on. And the best way that we can fight back at these narratives is to take this microphone, turn it around, and say, speak. Speak. That's what we did here today. Nothing fancy, nothing flashy, real, raw, and if they're going to call it Father's Day, let's go to some fathers and find out what's going on. With that said, guys, stick around. Dad Talk today is about to begin.
I'm too young to know any better, but I guess I'm just too old to care. I'm waiting. Never stay as long as we've had. Letting go that you made blanks. All the silence that keep me coming back. I'm the one that you hated. You know, the one you didn't want to believe. The one that you hated. Take a look at it now. I'm the mess.
All right, everybody. Happy Father's Day 2023. There is no place I'd rather be than this chair I'm sitting in right now. I've had a hard time making content lately. I'm not going to lie to you. Because coming in here, I know what I'm facing. Prior to this week, I have been mentally preparing myself because I knew this is what I wanted to do. I've been thinking long and hard. Father's Day, most special day of the year for a place called Dad Talk, right? What do I want to do? I don't want to just get on here and be a talking head. You guys hear from me enough, and for the ones that listen to it, God bless you. But I really wanted to make sure that this was special and that it was a way to give back to the people. Because listen, Dad Talk today was made for fathers like you, fathers like me, who feel like they had nowhere else to go and nobody understood what they were going through. I wanted to foster a community, to build a community where brothers can come in here and talk to each other and say, hey, man, I know what you're going through. Keep your head up. And that is exactly what you're going to see happen here today. I've seen people in the very early stages of what's going on. Some that have been gone out of it for years. They just refuse to give up. Like I said, we got a few positive stories in there. Guys, we heard from people all across the globe. Several different countries in here. Several different states. A little bit of everywhere is represented. A little bit of all stories is represented. And I just want to say thank you to each and every single one of you that participated in this today, because this is how you fight back at this BS narrative that there's just this fatherless crisis in these dads that don't want anything to do with their kids. It could not be further from the truth. It just couldn't be. And if you want to push back at that, this is how you do it. I'm going to tell you, 4 hours long, dude. Right at 4 hours long. And every couple of minutes, there's somebody new on the screen. So I know that's a lot of content, but I wanted to make sure we gave the microphone to everybody that wanted a chance to get it. So do me a favor. for those of you that can stick around, especially those of you that were on the show, if you don't just watch yourself, encourage and empower these other people. You want somebody to listen to your story, let's listen to theirs as well. But I had to mentally prepare myself because I knew going into this, I was going to hear some stuff that may not be, so pretty. And sure enough, that's what happened. I heard from a gentleman that reminded me of also myself, finding out his marriage is just now breaking apart, some of the challenges that he was going through. But I could sit there and look at him and say, dude, you're me from 6 years ago. It's going to get better. It's going to get better. My life is better than ever. I mean, I wish some of that would have never happened. But dude, if it wouldn't have happened, I would still be stuck in that. There is light at the end of the tunnel. And just knowing that we've got these guys' backs, they've got somewhere to turn. It's you take it for granted sometimes how something just so small as saying, hey, man, you got the microphone, talk. I want to hear you. What that can do for somebody. So for the audience out there that's listening today, again, empower, encourage these guys to speak. I'm proud of you for doing so. That's what we're going to do here on Father's Day. That's how we're going to celebrate. And thank you. Thank you so much. If you would like to support this show and what we do, there's the links up at the top. That's where you can follow us. Okay, let's see if I can do this with my finger. Dad Talk Today, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter. If you would like to financially support Dad Talk Today, Cash App, Venmo. Those are just little ways that you can support. Guys, I've talked about it, in the past several months, but I cannot stress to you the importance of it. I am this close to finally being able to release a full project for you guys, and I've got several in the works right now. The Substack. Later on in today's show, you're going to hear from Jeff Younger, who also came here. Now, he was a challenging one because I know he's not going to be able to see either of his sons today. One of his sons is in the middle of one of the biggest political battles I've ever seen, and both sides are using him, and he's being put back and forth, and also the family courts. And he came on here to speak, and I said I made this platform for fathers like you, especially fathers like Jeff. $1.5 million he spent. He's went to every end of the earth trying to make sure he can get his kid, and this Father's Day he will be spending it without them. That is criminal, guys, criminal. But when it comes to cases like Jeff, because of the details of what goes on in those cases, I can't speak about it on these traditional platforms. I can't. That's why I made that Substack. And I need you guys to get over there. It is very, very important. It hasn't became what it's going to be, but it is well on its way. dadtalktoday.substack.com. You can join for free, get the updates, the podcast, the articles, or if you would like to support us, it's $10 a month. When those documentaries come out, you're going to get access to them. When we have those monthly meetups, you're going to have access to it. And I can guarantee you, I'm going to try to find more and more things along the way that I can add to that as a token of saying, let me give this to you. So since you're giving this to us, so that I can take this and then continue doing what I'm doing. We need media right now. We need real media because the mainstream media does not support this. Even these guys, we are having record-breaking numbers with followers, like 300,000 new followers in the last 2 months. Watch what happens when this video goes live and how many people they allow to see it. We can't keep on like that. I need your help. Please, dadtalktoday.substack.com so that we can continue this fight. This Father's Day, nothing would mean more to me than you going over there and doing that and making sure that you show up and support these fathers today. With that said, let's get into this. Thank you guys so much. And I just want to tell you how proud I am of you, of your bravery for what we are about to witness here in just a second. You are important. You matter. And guys, do not give up. Do not give up. If you can't fight in the courts, that doesn't mean you can't fight here. And if you don't have time or you don't have money, support the ones that are. We need you. And right now, I want to turn this show over to you guys. This is your platform. Thank you for supporting Dad Talk. And man, just one more time, happy Father's Day. Even for you guys that are going through these challenges, happy Father's Day. It's going to be worth it one day. Just keep the faith. All right, guys, welcome back to Dad Talk today. This is our Father's Day special. And as promised, we got a lot of fathers we're going to be talking to today. Everybody has a little bit of a different story, which although you'll see many of these guys have a lot of things in common. I'm going to give everybody a few minutes to speak and a chance to say what they want to their kids. Our first father up today is Matt McElhaney. Matt, what's going on, brother?
How's it going, Eric? Doing good. I got the kids for the summer, so luckily have them for Father's Day. Little backstory: in 2021, I told my now ex that I'd wanted a divorce. I was tired of her narcissistic abuse. I was 300 plus pounds, so to kind of fast track, she took the kids to Illinois while I was at work at an abuse shelter for children. And then while in family court, she accused me of being mentally abusive to my kids and her. Shocker. The judge allowed her to stay in Illinois. And then it also turned out that her attorney was a judge in the same town. He's also the president of the North Dakota Municipal Judges Association. Put two and two together. I guess long story short, I relocated to Eastern Montana. I'm working my dream job as a full-time firefighter. I just did my first 10K, finished third out of 19 people. I'm down to 175 pounds. That's the way I show my kids that I love them. I'm trying to teach them, no matter how much your back's against the wall, no matter how hard it gets, keep fighting, keep grinding. Just do what you need to do. Don't worry about what other people say.
So, dude, you're telling me you lost about 125 pounds.
Yep, 125 pounds in 2 years.
Dude, that is awesome. How much better do you feel now?
I feel fantastic. I've never felt better in my life. The 10K I just did was, it's quoted as one of the hardest 10Ks in Montana. You go up a switchback 872 feet, back down. Once you get rid of someone who's so toxic, even though I lost everything, I gained everything back.
Right.
I'm fortunate enough to see my kids 12 weeks a year, even though they live in Illinois. I have them for Father's Day, so we're just hanging out. We have a completely different vibe than their mom's house. We're more laid back. I let them explore, whereas they're down there and they're controlled.
Now, I heard you say you was in North Dakota. You're familiar with the John Mass case? Did you? Yeah. Were you near where that happened?
So John Mass, that case was in Williston, which is about 3 hours north of where my case was in Dickinson, North Dakota.
Gotcha.
I tried going pro se and referencing that case. The judge shut it down.
Yep. They don't even acknowledge the trials that the guy went through. How many years did you spend trying to win the custody that you got now, and how much money did that take you?
So I spent in total about 10 grand trying to fight, and I spent about 1.5 to 2 years trying to fight. Then I just said, you know what, it is worth it, but I need to focus on me so I can it's like an airplane.
Right.
When they tell the safety procedure, you got to put your own mask on before your kids.
Absolutely, brother. Well, I hate to cut you short, but we're going to have to get to the next guy because we got a lot of people coming. But before we go, say a little something to your kids right now on Father's Day and how much they mean to you, brother.
You guys mean the world to me. I'm doing this for you, to show you guys just keep going. And I love you guys more than anything.
Dude, inspiring story. I'm working on trying to get myself in shape right now too. It's very important. So thank you so much for sharing your story. And I hope you have a great Father's Day, brother.
Thanks, you too, Eric. Appreciate it.
Thanks, man. All right, guys, I'm going to bring up our next father, Mr. Dave Parker. Dave, what's going on, man?
How's it going?
All right, man. So tell us a little bit about what you've been going through this Father's Day.
Well, it's coming up on a month since I've last spoke to my daughter. This past summer, she decided she did not want to go back to her mom's house. She reported abuse, reported it to the police, did a 10-page affidavit, spoke to victim services here in Texas, outright refused to go back to Rhode Island to her mom's house, even threatened self-harm in some instances. Apparently, things have gotten real bad for her. A judge in Rhode Island declared her a delinquent runaway, even though none of my rights have been suspended, and managed to convince a judge here in Texas to imprison Rebecca and then subsequently institutionalize her in Rhode Island for the past 6 months after they extradited her back up there. This kid's never committed a crime, never been in trouble. Very nice girl. And DCYF ended up screening for this judge, basically, and covering up their violations. They retaliated against me vitriolically. This is the only way to describe it. When you go to the website, I've been uploading a lot of information, and they were pretty bad when they found out that I had been recording them. The agent falsified records to the judge. I have recordings that are contrary to what she reported. And then when it got really bad, I found out the clinician of the group home that she was in was also acting as her therapist, who was not licensed to practice in the state of Rhode Island. She was also doing individual therapy for Rebecca, as well as co-parenting reunification therapy, and not addressing the trauma of her being suddenly imprisoned and then thrown into an institution. Now, the North American Family Institute, a multi-million-dollar corporation that operates out of 7 states in New England, has teamed up with DCYF and wrote a 7-page letter to the judge explaining that Rebecca, the counselor in question, who's not licensed, this is public records, and the DCYF agent are in great threat from me. And basically the way they wrote it is it looks like they're looking for a protective order, and then they filed an emergency motion for review. Since then, they have not allowed me to speak to Rebecca. They're saying she doesn't want to talk to me, which after 13 years of parental alienation is a first. Despite her mom's best efforts to separate us, she failed. It only pushed Rebecca and I closer together. You know, you have no mic, no sound.
Sorry. I said, I heard you say Texas. What part of Texas are you coming out of?
We're just outside the Austin area in Hutto.
Okay.
We moved here 2 years ago after the COVID, and we had to flee New England. Basically, we gave up everything. During that period, we landed here in January 1st. I drove back and forth to Rhode Island every other week to maintain my visitation, because at that time I had gone from 4 days a month, $800 a month in child support, to 50-50, paying for all of Rebecca's medical, paying for all of her extracurriculars, and basically spending every month after month in court with her for 13 years straight. I've spent a total of $112,000, and that's with me, pro se, representing myself 50% of the time, and actually winning most of my cases until this new judge took over. Purely an activist. I have her on recording as well. They don't know that I've been recording in the courtroom, which I'm sure once I post those on the website, they are going to drop a hammer on me. I've been preparing for it. I expect them to come after my finances. I've closed most of my accounts. I have been notifying several people in the area, and I expect them, once I show what Rhode Island's been doing, they only have one option. They have to, and that's what they're trying to do right now. They're trying to destroy me. You know, the report that NAFI wrote, they specifically cited 3 days, 4/16, 4/17, and 4/19, and what they wrote compared to the recordings is pure fantasy.
Dave, I hate to cut you off there, but I got several fathers coming up after you. I appreciate you so much for coming on today. Really quick before you leave, though, because I want to give everybody the opportunity to do this. Say whatever it is you want to say to your kids, brother.
Bex, we love you. Mary and Liam and Dave missed you a great deal. You know, we understand you're going through a nightmare, and we understand that you can't reach us or talk to us. You know, your friends are reporting that you seem to be struggling. Keep it together. You know, keep hopes up and realize that these people are evil. There's no other way to describe what they did. It was wrong, and you were a good kid, and you didn't deserve anything that they did to you. We love you a great deal, and keep it up, and just keep everybody out there. Just keep an eye on rescuebex.com. That's BEX. We're going to be trying something new within the next couple of months, seeing if we can bring a bunch of people together to start fighting this kind of behavior in action. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Dave, man, thank you so much, brother, and happy Father's Day. I got to get to my next guy on here. Thank you so much.
You too.
Our next guest, Richard. Richard, what's going on, man?
Hi, Eric. Thanks for the privilege and the opportunity to speak on the show today. I really appreciate it, brother.
Yeah, man. That's what it's all about. I tell people all the time, they think that we're just talking propaganda here, that there aren't really fathers that are going through these issues. So today I want to make sure that we're giving a voice to you guys. So Richard, I don't believe I've ever heard your story before, but tell us a little bit about what you've been going through.
Well, Eric, with the time that I've got, I can tell you this. My name is Richard Rent. I'm a father of 4 beautiful children, a completely fit, capable, and loving father who raised all 4 of them up until they were ages 17, 15, 14, and 13, when they were unlawfully completely erased from my life by my ex and the corrupt family court. 3 daughters and 1 son. I'm speaking from firsthand experience of a father having all 4 of my precious children ripped from my life by the corrupt family court for 6 straight years. That court never cited an official finding of unfitness or endangerment against me as a father to justify doing that. I don't get to see my children anymore. I've been ignored for the past 5 Father's Days. All 4 kids were illegally erased from my life during the past 6+ years. First, by my ex's illegal custodial interference, and then by my ex-wife using the notorious silver bullet scheme by lying to police and to a judge, making false accusations to obtain a bogus restraining order that has now lasted 5 full years. A life without my 4 kids is a living grief and a walking death. My ex-wife weaponized and brainwashed our 4 children to savage my reputation in the community and to obtain full custody after our divorce. Because of her brainwashing, she has succeeded in destroying my children's perception of me as a fit and loving father. And she's coercively controlled them over the past 6 years to the point that they now feel threatened if they don't ally with her and join her smear campaign of denigration of me as their father.
Richard,
I was married. Yes,
what
sir.
What state are you out of?
My case was originated in Illinois, but I had to flee Illinois and flee to the state of Florida to escape the savaging of my reputation in my community. I was a prominent citizen in that community.
How many years have you been fighting this, and how much money has it cost you to this point?
I've been fighting it in court for 6 years, and it's cost me over $120,000. And a good portion of that was at the time that I had met a new love in my life, that she actually contributed to the court costs and the expenses and gave up over $80,000 of her own money when we flipped her house while I was completely indigent and bankrupt and living on the street when she found me.
Absolutely, brother. We're running low on time, but I got 2 more things I want to go through with you really quick. You mentioned going through the silver bullet. Explain to people what you mean by silver bullet and what that did to your life after you faced it.
The silver bullet is really just a way for a vindictive ex to use false allegations that they know once they reach a judge's desk in court will be believed at face value, and you will not have a chance to prove that you are innocent until proven guilty. Your evidence will never be allowed in the courtroom to refute or rebut any of those accusations. And so the reason it works is because in family court, there is no presumption of innocence and there is no constitutional right to due process. So your rights are going to be deprived, and that means the silver bullet works every time it's used by a vindictive spouse. And so in a sense that the fathers are most often, it seems, the target, there's also a sense that a divorce should end a marriage, not a family. And dads are still dads. And when the silver bullet is used, you can count on losing everything. And brother, I lost everything. Job, family, kids, insurance, income, retirement, home, everything. When I say everything, I mean everything.
brother, and I want to empower you and encourage you to continue speaking up, because that's what we got to do. This silver bullet, this narrative, the culture is deadly. Too many people believe it when these accusations are made. I got a couple of more guests that are waiting, so I got to hurry up and get to them, but I want to do this with everybody on Father's Day. I want to give you a really quick chance to say whatever it is that you want to say to your kids on Father's Day.
I want my kids to know that I love them unconditionally, that I've never gone a single day without thinking about them, that I love them more than they will ever know and more than I can put in words. And they are now old enough to choose to know the truth. God bless all of the dads, and God bless my children wherever they are today. Thank you, Eric.
Absolutely, Richard. Happy Father's Day, brother. Keep fighting, man.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we're going to get to our next guest, Mr. Brian Potak. Did I say your last name right?
Potak.
Potak. Gotcha, man. Brian, tell us what you've been going up against, brother.
Okay, well, my situation, I'm at the outcome of it. Both of my kids are adults now. One is 18, my son, and my daughter is 25. But when this whole mess started to happen, my kids were very young. My son was 3 and my daughter was 9. And as soon as our marriage was ended, caught her cheating, which was okay, move on. But then I became open game at their house, all the negative talk, all this, all that. And I knew it was happening. And I kept the high road. I would never, ever, even up until my kids became adults, I never talked bad about their mom, whereas it was a whole different story. There was a time where I didn't see my daughter for quite a while. My son was 3. He just wanted to be with his dad when he wanted to be with his dad. But my daughter was poisoned very badly. And it took a really, really long time until my daughter and my son, they came around. My son was more neutral, but my daughter always took her mom's side because nobody else was there for her. I tried to stay out of the courts where I could have brought them to court for visitation, for everything that was already legally written down and stipulated, but I knew that would bring my kids into the picture of the courts with the police, and I chose not to do that. And like I said, I kept the high road. I spent a lot of time with my son. My daughter sooner or later came around. And now, like I said, now that my kids are both adults, my son is in college and my daughter, she has a career. She just had a baby. I became a grandfather. I spend a lot of time with them now. So I was vigilant in keeping me the good guy. My license plate and my email all say Noble Dad. It's all about my children. And I tell my kids, they'll be my children until the day I die. I try not to get into the drama with the ex or anyone else for that matter.
Not worth it, man. Brian, tell us, what state are you coming out of?
I'm out of New York.
New York. I thought so. I could hear it in the accent, man. How many years and how much money did you spend while you was in the courts?
Well, what do you call it? We never actually made it into the courts. It was all through the lawyers. But my ex actually saved me a lot of grief because after she went through her credit cards, she decided to become her own lawyer, which was good for me. And it saved me a lot of money. But we had to go to a bankruptcy, and I lost the house. I didn't lose my job. My job kept me busy because when I went through all the drama, I was for work.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Well, I tell you what, brother, I got some more guests that are waiting down here, and I want to make sure that I give you a chance. It sounds like things are going good for you now, thank God, but you continue to tell your story. And I want to encourage people. A lot of people, when they get outside the system, they say, well, I don't have to worry about it no more. No, now it's your kids that are going through that same system. It's going to be, you're a grandfather. So you got grandkids that could become a victim of that system. And it's up to us to continue speaking out to make sure that we fight back at this. On Father's Day, though, for your kids, for your grandkids, what is it you'd like to say to them today?
My kids, my son's sleeping in the next room, but my kids know I love them and I would do anything for them. in any situation. And I tell my son when he goes out, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, if you get into any type of situation, call me. I will not judge anything. I love my kids, and I constantly remind them now, because I wasn't able to years ago, that I love them, and that's what I live for, my children, and now my grandchild.
Awesome, brother. Well, Brian, thank you so much for coming on here, and I hope you have a great Father's Day, man.
Thanks. I just wanted to let some of the fathers know that if you remain vigilant, things do have a chance of turning around. It's not all, your life is this and that. There is a chance to make it to the other side of the road. That's all.
All right, man. Brian, thank you so much,
Have a
my
happy
man.
Father's Day.
You
Thank
too.
you.
All right, I'm going to bring up our next guest, Mr. Ben. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, Eric. How yourself?
I'm doing all right, man. What state are you coming out of?
Indiana.
Indiana. Tell us what challenges you've been going through this Father's Day, man.
In 3 minutes, huh?
I do. I know it's hard. I definitely do.
I think I've been at this for this will be the 9th year that I've been doing the single dad thing. And my kids were 3 months and 2 years when I went through my divorce. So I had 2 babies. I was taking care of 2 little ones by myself. And that was overwhelming at times. I will say that. And for the dads out there, my challenges were different than everybody else. It seems like there are so many different challenges that everybody's going through with this. For me, it was, I guess, raising 2 kids by yourself and trying to work and go through the emotional stress of a divorce kind of feels like you're drowning and you're juggling a lot. But it was also a blessing because I was thankfully able to be in my children's lives every other day. I had them 3 overnights a week, basically. I have since then. And the challenges for me have been more so the script, I guess you could say, that's very easy to believe or buy into when it seems like the world is against you, when it seems like the systems in place, the court systems, the financial systems, everything else are really not in your favor. And you're dealing with emotional and psychological issues and financial issues, waking up every day, feeling like you're waking up to the same insurmountable enemy, if that makes sense, is probably one of the biggest takeaways that I can give out there to anybody who's starting to go through this, is to be very careful what script you read yourself, because we can go through the same thing and come out with a very different perspective of what it means.
Well, brother, I have been through both of the situations. So I was a single father raising 2 kids. That was one of my situations. And I later went through a situation where I was having to fight to try to be able to see my children. So I can definitely empathize with that too. How old are your children now?
9 and 11.
Okay. Now, I don't know if you can relate to this or not, but one of the things I see with a little bit older children, sometimes time heals the wounds. And then others, as they start to get a little bit older, dads try to be dads. And then you got one that's trying to be a best friend, and it becomes hard to be a father. Can you relate to that?
Yes. I think that they're 9 and 11. I get back to me when they're 13 and 15, because, things can change. But I will say that attempting to be as present as I can in the moments that I've spent with them, I never outsourced them to various family members or babysitters. I really tried to, be as present with them when I had them, even when I emotionally was having a hard time being present. And I have a very open relationship with my kids. There are many times they'll tell me about something they're going through, and I will say, well, did you tell your mom about this? And they're at the age now, and they have been for a couple of years, where they'll say, well, she doesn't listen when I tell her how I feel. And so I'm blessed in the sense that all of that time invested to put my kids first, and make sure they know that they're first, up until now anyway, has created an environment where I can talk to my kids about just about anything, and they will talk to me about anything.
That's awesome, brother. That's the way we need to keep it. Tell you what, I got a few guests waiting to come in, but do me a favor really quick. Anything you want to say to your kids this Father's Day? Let's do it.
Well, speaking of challenges, their mom took them on vacation this week, knowing that it would be up until Father's Day. Let me know about a week and a half beforehand. So, you're still dealing with those kind of challenges, but If I could say one thing to them, which they already know, there's not a single thing I've done in my life or accomplishment that I will ever do in my life that's more important or more valuable to me than raising them.
Absolutely, dude. And you know what? It sucks right now, but one day they'll realize that, right?
Amen. Amen.
Absolutely, dude. Ben, thank you so much for coming in, and happy Father's Day to you, brother.
You too, Eric.
Thanks, man. All right, we're bringing on our next guest. This looks like a familiar face. What's your name? I can't hear you.
What's going on, man?
What's up?
Not much, man. Just working.
I know this guy.
I went to high school with you, man. Grew up with you.
Yeah,
Have a
man.
little one with me.
That's awesome.
I gotta say, man, if it wasn't for this little 2-year-old bundle of joy right here, man, I don't know if I'd still be here on this planet.
Tell us about some of the challenges that you faced there, Joey.
Well, and she goes to daycare and everything, which I don't want her to go to, but it is kind of good for her social, and she gets to meet other kids around her age too, so that's good. And I've kind of warmed up to the idea with all of the storms that we've been having lately, because, you know, me and you live kind of close. Like, I didn't want to take her to daycare this week, so I kept her safe here with me while I work, and he's good, man.
Yeah, man.
Few challenges I've had is definitely getting along with her mother, which we've kind of gotten over our issues in the past. So we're co-parenting a little bit more better than we used to, and I'm still thankful for this little bundle of my girl, man.
That's awesome, dude. So I grew up with Joey. I've known him ever since middle school. He can definitely tell you. I tell people all the time some of the wildness that I used to have. I think he got to see a little bit of that, but I know how being a father changed me and who I am. How has being a father changed you, Joey?
Obviously, you know, we used to hang out after high school and everything. You know, we've had our stories, and I've definitely calmed my life down after that. You know, I really don't drink anymore. I don't want to. I don't need to. And it's all because of her right here, man.
Well, that's it, man. So I'm giving the fathers the opportunity before we leave today. I got to get to my next guest, but I want them to tell their kids how much they love them. It looks like you got the opportunity to do it right there, but just so you can show her later on, Joey, how much do you love your daughter sitting in your lap?
I love her more than anything.
Yeah.
Love her more than anything.
All right, brother. But dude, happy Father's Day. I'm going to get to the next guest, but it was good seeing you, my man. And I hope you have a good one.
You too, Eric, man. Happy Father's Day, dude.
Thank you, brother.
Yes, sir.
All right. Looks like I got another familiar face here. Caller, what is your name?
Robert Garza. How's it going?
Robert Garza. So tell us a little bit about your story there on Father's Day.
Oh, well, I'm loving my life now. 2 years out of court. Got some legislation changed, but went through about 11 to 12 years of crazy custody battles, spent $700,000 just being able to see my kids. Went through 43 plus false allegations, never once was convicted or arrested. They were all false. They were all done by proxy. It took about 10 years to get to final trial. And so here we are today, and I'm actually out here at a skydiving place with my son, Chris. He likes skydiving, so it's my oldest son. So we're out here, and I'm watching him skydive today.
So are you not doing it with him?
No, I've already done it a couple of times. He's getting his license. He's already doing solos, and so he's really good. He loved it. He picked up the sport, and but no, I want to be here quite a few more. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's very safe, but, I just don't want any chances to, mess up everything that I've tried to go through for, 10, 11 years. And, if I get hurt in an accident or whatever, then it's not worth the thrill of, I don't know, 5 minutes of descending.
Yeah. So for anybody that's followed the show, you already know, but if there's like some new viewers, Robert's probably been up and down the road with me more than anybody else. We've been all over this country trying to change this. He's outside of the system, went in there, like he said, for 11 years, fought. He's got 50-50 custody of the kids that he was going through the family court with now, but you continue to still fight. You've been working hard this past year with the legislation. Looks like he's got a bill going through in Texas, time taken, time back, where the parents that got their time taken away from them for false allegations is going to get that returned. And it's about time we start seeing that paradigm start to shift a little bit. But I'm curious, Robert, this Father's Day, for any of these fathers that are going to be coming on here and they're wanting to use their voice to speak up, you're out of the courts. Why do you continue to speak up?
Because, I know what it's like to be there. I wish someone would have fought for me. I wish the laws would have changed when I would have went through it, or my kids or my family. And, had this law been enacted, I wouldn't have went through it 43 plus times. My ex maybe would have done it once or twice maximum, not 43 plus times. So, I could have spent more money and overturned the judge to get my time back, because she just didn't even rule on it. But I could have went to a higher court, spent 50 to 100,000 and another several months in court. But I decided to not spend any more money in this crooked court system and basically turn my pain into purpose. And I went to my state legislator, got a law or a bill enacted or a bill submitted, and she submitted it. It went through the House, the Senate. No, not one person opposed it. And it flew through, and Abbott's going to sign off on it any day now. I believe probably this weekend. It's Father's Day weekend, and what a great gift to all 30 million Texans if he does it this weekend.
There we go. That's awesome, brother. Do me a favor really quick. I got a couple of more guys that are waiting to come on, but before I bring them on, obviously you're still seeing your kids, but it's always good to express it anytime we can. Let your kids know how much they mean to you and how much you love them.
Yes. So they already know I love all my children. They're amazing. I wouldn't have went through all this if I didn't love them. And all you dads fighting out there, stay with it. I promise you'll get over this hill, whatever you're going through. If you're not seeing your kids, get out, go with your significant other, your new spouse or whoever, and go have a dinner or something. I know it's hard because, you're missing them, but I promise you will get over this and you will persevere through it.
Awesome, man. Well, Robert, good work that you've been doing. Please tell the family I said hey, and have a happy Father's Day, my man.
Right. Thank you. Bye.
See you, buddy. All right. I got Mr. Sean on here. Sean,
Yes,
where are you coming from? What state are you out of?
I'm out of Kansas right now.
Out of Kansas. Awesome, man. So tell us a little bit about some of the challenges you've been going through.
Sure. I got out of the Air Force after about 9 years, came back to the hometown of my ex-wife, and kind of wanted a house and kind of settled down, wanted to be in her town. And shortly afterwards, she kind of didn't want to be in the relationship anymore. Wanted to see other people and whatnot. And her first instinct was wanting to take the children, so after being in my lives for my youngest for 5 years and my youngest at 2 years at that time, I'm originally from Delaware. So I came to this state not knowing anybody, not having any family. And I knew that I needed to fight, so I got a lawyer and I managed to have custody for about 1.5 years until there was some false allegations like you hear a lot. And that kind of turned everything. After that, it was the system against me with custody. We had a limited case manager even write a 50-page essay on why I shouldn't have the children, even after having them for about 1.5 years, all because of one false allegation, So I fought and I got about 40% of the time now with the children. I continue to fight. I volunteer for anything that goes up to the Capitol. I try to let other dads know that, hey, you're not the only guy out there. It's just that word,
Right.
A lot of times we mean well, but we don't always speak, we have thoughts and whatnot. It's hard to get it out, but
those are a lot of hard challenges to go through, man. But I mean, you talk about the false allegations, but just hearing your story for what little bit I have so far, I kind of already see a pattern. So you started going through this divorce after you got back out of the Air Force.
Yes, that's correct.
And she was wanting to see other people.
Yes. Yep. Wanted to move about hour and a half away, after we bought the house, and was in her hometown, and that's where she wanted the kids to go. And like I said, I'm originally from Delaware, so I moved out here with no job, no family other than her family and family-in-law, and tried to make the best of it. And it kind of felt like a setup, but my main thing was I had 2 young sons that
Right.
were going to be needed to head in the right direction. And even from my own dad telling me, hey, over the years of working and missing a lot of stuff from you guys and having some older kids that aren't as close as he would like, he said, I'm telling you, fight for those boys, fight for them. They need their father.
Absolutely, man. And I believe that 100%. Now, how long ago was it that you started going through this?
That would have been back in 2014 or 15 when I got out of the military.
Okay, so there's been a little bit of time in there, because I'm not trying to like get in the middle of something, but it definitely sounds like if she does this, once you get out, there's no telling. I see a lot of these guys in the service. This probably could have been going on before you got home. And
I'm
then
sure.
now that sets up why we need the false allegations, because correct me if I'm wrong, I think if a spouse cheats on a spouse while they're in an active service, there could be some pretty heavy consequences that come with that.
Sure. A lot of time, they tell you that it's more of the active duty or the military member that would have it, but usually the spouse or wife or husband, they a lot of times seem to kind of just get off. They're a civilian,
Yep.
So, and a lot of the places are no fault divorces now, so you don't even have a hand there to try and help you out, saying, hey, this is what happened, and you got nothing there to kind of help you, So,
Yeah, man. What's the relationship like with the kids now?
a lot stronger. We go over things. We talk about some of the stuff that's happened, and we move forward, and I take them places, and I spend time with them, and I explain to them, the importance of a dad, and I talk about their grandfather, about how he didn't have his dad in his life, and we're trying to break that generational thing, where it's like, no, you need your father, you need a role model. I hear it all the time. The school here in town is asking for fathers and uncles to come to school for like a watchdog program, to have that male role model. And at the same time, the city and the courts are taking it away. So it's funny how they have this, in the schools, they make it seem like we need more dads, but on the legal side, they're taking it away. They're taking our time away. It's
right.
baffling.
Is there an estimated dollar figure that you could come up with on how much you spent inside the family courts?
I would say probably at least $12,000, maybe more. And then on top of that, once we got over that 1.5 year battle of who would have the kids, they went ahead and backdated child support. So I got right out of the hole with about 12 grand in the hole, that had to pay back. So.
Well, brother, I got the next guest lined up,
Okay.
and I wanted to make sure. This is a sad story. I'm so sorry to hear all of this is going on. But right before we go, I want to make sure I give everybody the opportunity. Say a little something to your kids, man, how much they mean to you this Father's Day.
Sure thing. I just want to say to you guys that when you feel like giving up, remember these times and these stories that I've told you and what I've endured, and use that as strength to try and change the world. I love you guys a lot.
All right. Sean, thank you so much, my man, and happy Father's Day to you, buddy.
All right.
Thank you for your
Happy
service.
Father's Day. No problem. You're welcome.
All right, guys, I got my next guest on. Robert is Hoeker?
Hoeker, yep, very good.
Okay, got it, man. So what state are you coming out of?
Illinois.
Illinois. I'm definitely familiar with that
Yes, sir.
place. Tell us some of the challenges you've been going through, buddy.
So I filed for divorce in early 2021. Still trying to get divorced to this day. When I filed for divorce, my ex responded by filing an OP against me. From that moment, it pretty much turned my world upside down. I'm in law enforcement, so that has a tremendous effect on my career. Kind of destroys your character a bit, and it's a complete tarnish on your record. I've been in law enforcement for a decade with no issues. So that was a big deal for me. Luckily, my department was understanding and supportive, so that was a big help. During that time, I didn't get to see or talk to my son for an entire month and missed his 3rd birthday because of that. Not because of court orders, just because my ex was refusing to let me speak or see him. Still to this day, I deal with parental alienation like that, whether it's not getting soccer schedule. I missed a couple soccer games this season because I wasn't even told he was playing soccer and that it started. Doctor's appointments. She has medical decision rights temporarily, so I don't get doctor's visits. I don't get appointments, medical conditions. All of this stuff isn't shared with me, so I have kind of had to build in back doors to make sure that I get notifications or that I can get this information that should just be provided to me. Found out earlier this year that my son was terminated as a patient from his pediatrician. I didn't even know that was a thing that could happen. All of that was based on my ex's behavior, according to the doctor's office, that they terminated him as a patient and he had to seek a new pediatrician because of that, which I had to find out on my own. Right now, I'm kind of dealing with my ex trying to create medical issues, like saying my son has autism, which he has no signs of, all because that's a way to get federal aid and government aid, because she's unemployed and gets government aid now. So I basically support everything, my son and her, through my child support as the way it's going now. One thing I want to kind of just promote is therapy. It's been a big deal. I know it's kind of a stigma for some guys, but I highly promote it, especially if you're dealing with someone that has mental illness like my ex or anything like that. It's a big deal. It's been very helpful for me and improved my abilities as a father. I actually just got out of it today, so it's something I highly promote.
Yeah.
Also, anyone having issues with Our Family Wizard, if you guys deal with that, they don't follow the law, they violate the law. They are in Illinois and I'm working on a suit, so reach out to Dad Talk and they've got my information. But continue to keep up the good fight. I continue to fight for my son because if we don't, no one else will. I love him more than anything, so that's why I expend all this energy on it. And your base and everything you do for support has been big for that. So I appreciate everything you guys do.
I appreciate that too, man. I mean, being in law enforcement, how has that opened your eyes to some of the situations that these guys are going through, seeing yourself go through it?
Just to keep it brief, it's been beyond eye-opening. I've had to deal with it in my career on the other side of it, but to actually be on the side that's involved, it's really been it's sad to watch. And I see other dads going through it in my department, and it's just a lot of people want to give up because it's such a huge fight and struggle. Just it never ends. But I really empathize with fathers that I've had to deal with in the past that, maybe I didn't have that understanding before, that going through it now, it is a very, very difficult battle, and it seems to be very, very one-sided. So
absolutely, man.
Just the way it is.
And there's not much you guys can do about it, even if you can tell what's going on. I think sometimes the police and law enforcement unfairly get judged for being responsible for something that they don't have much control over, Yep,
it's 100% accurate. We're very limited on what we can do, and the courts is really where the power's at. So
how much money, if you could put an estimate on it, have you spent up until now?
Not including child support, just with attorney fees, over 20 grand. I'm at a year, and I was married for 3.5 years, and I'm a year and a half into a divorce. I still cannot get divorced because just continue. She has legal aid, so she has a free attorney because she's unemployed, even claiming disability, but she's not at all disabled. Nobody checks into that. Nobody does anything for that. And I've easily paid over 20 grand in attorney fees right now, and it's still not done. So,
brother, I am so sorry,
it's
but I appreciate you so much for speaking up on this. And really quick before we go,
sure.
Say whatever you want to your kids here on Father's Day, brother.
Like I said, I love my son more than anything. I'll do anything to fight for him. I'll expend as much energy and as money as I have, even if I don't have it, because I didn't have a good father figure in my life, and I know what that impact is. So I won't allow my son to go through life with that. So I'll always be there for him no matter what it takes.
Absolutely, man. I appreciate you sharing that with us today, man. And I hope you have a happy Father's Day.
Same to you. Happy Father's Day, everybody.
Thank you, sir. All right, guys, welcome back. We got our next guest on, Mr. Hunter Youngblood. Hunter, what's going on?
What's going on, Eric? Just here at work and wanted to take the time to meet with you, man. I enjoyed the opportunity to meet with Dad Talk today for Father's Day.
I appreciate it, man. This is another Texas story. We got a lot of Texas guys that have been on here today for sure. But Hunter, tell everybody a little bit about what you went through in the family courts.
Man, I went through a lot. It was a 2-year battle. I do have 50-50. So, but I'm still fighting for all the guys out here to have equal access to their kids. But it cost me, you know, a little. I think now that first go around was about 230,000. This last go around was about 40. So I'm approaching that $300,000 mark just to have 50-50 with my kids. And you know, I do have 50-50, and they're still just raking me on child support. And but I am glad that I have it. I did all I wanted was, you know, just have time with my kids. But I just tell people, you know, I'm continue to fight so fathers don't have to go through this and, you know, spend their life savings.
So you got equal custody, but you're still having to pay an enormous child support.
That is correct. I was paying $27.50, but this last go around, she's still not working. This last go around, they reduced it to $24.17. So I got a little bit of a break, but it's still an enormous amount.
Why do you think the system is the way it is, Hunter?
I think it's because of money, Eric. I mean, it's just follow the money, as you say all the time. I hear you say, but like for guys that are, you know, they will, when the money's gone, then the fight stops. And that's kind of what happened with me. It's just like we were getting down. There was no more money to go around, and the fight stops. So I believe that, you know, especially here in Texas, you got a strong lobby group, and they don't want equal custody because if they know that good guys are going to fight for their kids, like me, like Rustin, and some of the guys that are in this Stewart. They know that good guys are going to fight for their kids, and so therefore the attorneys make a lot of money, and so it keeps the fight going. So I think I can only speak here for Texas. I think it's just about money.
What kind of strain did that put on your relationship with your kids in the middle of that family law battle?
Oh, a lot. I mean, my kids, you know, they've had 3 different attorneys. You know, at the age of 4, they had their own attorney. They've had 3 different attorneys showing up at their school. It was just embarrassing, and for them. And so this last go around, you know, one of my daughters is like, "Dad, like, can we just not do this anymore?" And you know, but I wasn't the one I was the one getting sued. You know, so I had to like just fight for my rights. It wasn't me suing someone else. I was the one getting sued. And so it really put a strain on my kids. And really, when you spend that much money, it's really hard. Like, and what the attorneys and the judges don't see, it's really hard for me to have a good relationship with my ex-wife now because you don't, you know, you see what I'm saying? Like, it could have been good. But now that they took me to the end of a 2-year process and made me spend almost $300,000 in court. It's hard. Like I can, you know, it's hard to forgive that. It really is. And at the first, when I set it up front, I said, here, you can have half of everything and let me just have equal time with my kids and I will pay you max child support. But so they didn't want that because the attorneys wanted all the money.
Absolutely, brother. Well, I'll tell you what, man, it's good to see you, and I'm glad you're still continuing to speak up, even though you have gotten 50-50 at this point. But really quick, I'm asking everybody here on Father's Day before they leave, what's something you'd like to say to your kids right now about how much they mean to you?
Oh, man, I mean, and I'll tell you, Eric, and I feel my heart goes out to a lot of fathers. They know that we just got back from a trip heading up the Pacific Coast Highway, and man, I love my kids. I sent them a message because they were 2 weeks on with me. They go back to their mom today, and I sent them a message this morning. You know, I just want you to be strong, confident. You can do anything that you want to do, and hard work does pay off. And I just want them to know that I love them with all my heart, and I will do anything, you know, to be a part of their life.
Absolutely. Well, Hunter, happy Father's Day, man, and thank you for continuing to speak up.
Hey, happy Father's Day to you, Eric, and it goes to you as well, man. And we appreciate the job that you're doing here at Dad Talk today. I know you don't get a lot of credit for it, but I definitely give you credit, okay?
All right. Thanks, Hunter.
All right. Talk to you later, Eric.
Bye. All right. We bring on our next guest. I mean, dude, Texas is back-to-back right here. Mr. Taryn Champagne, what's going on, dude?
Good morning, Eric. How are you doing? And happy Father's Day to you.
Yeah, happy Father's Day to you, man. Taryn, we've had you on the show before. But if you could encapsulate it, you know, somewhat quick, tell everybody about your experience in the family law courts.
So I went through the family law courts for approximately 7 years. At this point, I have equal custody. And what it took was it took my son's mother spending almost $100,000 fighting me for her to realize that eventually that I was a much better ally to her than her attorneys would ever be. We now share custody equally. There's no child support, and our co-parenting relationship is better than it ever could have been. And it took that big fight. And I think really what helped bring her around was me breaking her attorney and her attorney running scared. Once she realized that and waved the white flag of surrender, rather than going and attacking her, I offered my hand in reconciliation. And, we both get what we want now.
There's very often on the show, I tell these guys, get these attorneys out of your life because they are there to increase conflict, and conflict creates cash for them. And I've met a lot of these guys, and once they go pro se, they'll wipe the floor with any of the attorneys. You might be one of the guys that I'm talking about when I say that, Taryn. I mean, how much better was your life and your chances after you stopped messing with the attorneys?
So my last modification that we went through, other than a very brief period, I was pro se for the entire thing. Pretty much all the hearings I carried myself. And what I found is that you will not, it's very difficult to win in the actual court battles themselves, but there are a multitude of tactics that you can use outside of the courtroom as a non-attorney to fight and wage your battle in order to achieve a victory. So it's not about fighting just in the courtroom. It's about your whole strategy all around. But the key thing, I really want to put out there is you always need to be trying to offer that hand of reconciliation to the other parents, your child's other parent, because ultimately, if you guys can come to an agreement outside of court, it is going to last a lot longer, and you'll both get the warm and fuzzy with that.
And obviously we have to caveat, does that always work? No, but there is many cases where it does, guys. Why wouldn't you try it? Your life would be a lot better.
Yeah, no, I get it. You both have to come to a point where you're willing to let go of whatever past hurts and everything you have, to realize that you have a child together. You may be divorced or separated, but you didn't divorce or separate from your child.
Really quick, Taryn, if there was some of these guys that were interested in representing themselves, they're wanting to learn how to get the attorneys out of their lives, where would you recommend them starting?
So there are a multitude of groups available. I'm not going to name any specific ones, but do a quick search. There are pro se resources out there. They're even at your local county law library. You can usually find assistance with pro se resources, but really the internet is going to be your best friend as far as locating individuals, and really kind of search them out and see what you think about them, whether they're the right fit for you, because obviously not all of them are going to be the right fit for you.
Absolutely, man. Well, I appreciate you coming on here and sharing a little bit with us today. Really quick before we get out of here, any words to your kid, man?
Yes, to my son, I want you to know that in order to be in your life, I've moved heaven and earth and overcome many odds. And, I hope you see that. And should anybody stand in your way, should you try to be a parent and try to prevent you from being equally involved in any child's life of yours, I want you to know that myself and many others stand right behind you, and we will ensure that you won't have to fight this fight when you're an adult.
Absolutely, man. And I just want to say how much I appreciate guys like you that have went through this, but you continue to speak up. You didn't just go away. You said, you know what, there's a problem here. I want to fix it because I don't want to pass it on to the next generation. So huge kudos to you, and happy Father's Day, brother.
Happy Father's Day, Eric. Have a nice day.